The long-running dispute between Florida and Georgia over water consumption now coming to a head. This as residents and fishermen in Franklin County are fighting for their livelihood. It was standing room only today in Franklin County, where oystermen were meeting with state and federal leaders about the future and health of the Apalachicola Bay. Good evening, I'm Mika Highsmith.
And I'm Greg Angel. Thank you for joining us. As Mika said, it was a packed house in Apalachicola this morning for a federal congressional hearing. Many of those there who make their living from the waters of the Apalachicola Bay telling U.S. senators and congressmen that more needs to be done. Meanwhile, Governor Rick Scott today already acting. Governor Scott saying the state of Florida is now going to sue the state of Georgia over its increased consumption of water that is limiting flow to the Apalachicola River. This is where 90% of Florida's oyster supply comes from, 10% of the nation's oyster supply. Scott says Florida has to take drastic action because it's been unable to negotiate a settlement for the last decade on how to allocate water between Georgia and Alabama. Florida has previously sued the Army Corps of Engineers, which manages the Apalachicola, Chattahoochee, and Flint River system, but a recent ruling went against Florida in its push to limit Georgia's withdrawals. As we mentioned, standing room only today during a congressional hearing. Franklin County Gulf workers meeting face-to-face with Governor Rick Scott, Senators Rubio, Bill Nelson, and Congressman Steve Sutherland. Our Brittany Jones is live for us tonight from Apalachicola. And Brittany, certainly a big turnout. What are the thoughts and feelings of those in Franklin County? Do they feel like they're now being heard?
Well, Greg, first, if you just take a look behind me, this is what they're trying to save, the Apalachicola Bay. Now, congressmen and senators are basically trying to get those back in Washington to know that these people in Franklin County are struggling and they need help. And residents tell us that it's help they've needed for a very long time. It was standing room only as Senators Bill Nelson and Rubio listened to hours of testimony about devastation on the Apalachicola Bay.
We heard from folks that are being directly impacted by this, and it breaks your heart. This is not just what they've done as a family. This is how they provide for their families now. This is not just part of their traditions. It's their livelihood.
They say several factors have contributed to destroying the bay for decades. The BP oil spill, overharvesting, and the lack of fresh water restricted from Georgia caused the problem, an issue the governor plans to take to the Supreme Court.
We've negotiated with them. They've not negotiated in good faith. They've kept our water. It's been going on for decades. Florida's going to file suit to make sure this stops.
90% of the state's oysters come from Apalachicola, and they've watched as these oysters and other seafood have become more scarce. But now supporters are rallying for change to bring back life to the bay.
People need help right now. Time is running out. We need to get something done right now.
Now, state and national leaders say they will continue to fight to bring help to this county. And ahead at the news, we'll tell you what those oystermen had to say about how their families are struggling to stay afloat. In Franklin County, Brittany Jones, WTXL, ABC 27, dedicated to you.